Let's cross live now to my colleague Kasia Madeira, who's in Erftstadt in Germany. And Kasia, you were explaining a little earlier that mobile phone signals are still intermittent, and clearly that isn't helping in trying to get in touch with people who are unaccounted for. How much hope is there that still survivors can be found?
It's a really worrying situation here, of course, Anita, with over 1,000 people still unaccounted for. Of course, the thoughts are foremost with the families of those people who don't know the whereabouts of their relatives. The mobile phone signals are improving somewhat, so the situation is clarifying. But of course, it's a desperate and agonizing wait for families who simply don't know the whereabouts of their loved ones. And Erftstadt is one of those places that was really badly impacted. We saw the huge land collapse a little bit further up the road from here, and this is a dual carriageway. It's a bypass road that goes around the town of Erftstadt that was completely submerged in water. We've been here for many hours now monitoring how the army is involved in the rescue operation, in the salvage operation, as they try to move vehicles that were upturned by the strength of the water. There are 3 huge trucks behind me, and at one point one of the trucks was simply lying across the other 2. It is just astounding how powerful the water, the surge of the water was here. So people coming to terms with that. The country's president has been talking to the emergency services and also the governor of this state, one of 2 states really badly affected here in Western Germany. And it's about, of course, the people that have been trying to help each other as well. We can cross over to speak to Silke and Alex Moonfeld, who join us live from Blankenheim. It's good of you both to talk to us. You're care workers. Just talk to us about how the residents that you help with, how they've been coping through what has been an absolute catastrophe, in the words of Angela Merkel.
Yes, hi. Well, we are now on the way from one home to another, because that's the second one is the one where the people are evacuated to. And you can imagine that for this generation who had to live through World War II, evacuation is a big word. And they were all very, I don't know, it was a strange situation. We really had to take care of the inhabitants, because most of them were in tears. They didn't want to leave their things behind, but obviously they had to. I know that they are going to a good house, that they are being taken care of, but still the emotional situation for them is devastating.
It must be so difficult, not least with all the COVID restrictions that you've already had to deal with such residents who are vulnerable to this disease, and now this. Alex, I wonder if you can talk us through. So all your residents are accounted for, they are safe?
Well, I'm helping him with the English. Yes, we know that they're all safe. Yes. And they're all in safe houses. They were taken there by taxis and buses. Of course, some of them are in wheelchairs, so it was really not easy. But the lucky thing is that in this house, nobody was hurt, which is very important.
It's really, Silke, thank you so much for helping with the English there. It's really good to hear that. When it comes to warnings, were you given warnings about how quickly this flood would progress?
Nobody told them that it was coming that quick, and that it was that the water will come with so much pressure. Because that was the worst thing, that the cars were simply taken away. Cars were bumped into buildings. There was no electricity, no mobile phone signals, no water, no fresh water, nothing. And this is very, this is very dramatic for this vulnerable, like you said, group of people. Because of course, they need much more care than we do, like normal. healthy people.
Yeah,
All
we understand. Well, Silke and Alex, it's really good of you to share your experience, and we wish you the best of luck with looking after those residents, as you say, the most vulnerable group within society, who must be very traumatized by what happened. And as Silke was describing there, the rush of water, the strength of the water, and as we're seeing even behind us, the way it's been moving, toppling cars, destroying buildings. Let's talk to somebody who was witnessing some of that firsthand, who is now safe. We're going to speak to Craig Cousins, who actually joins us from Wrexham in Wales. Craig, you were involved here. You were in this part of the world when the flooding happened, and you are now back in Wales safely, I have to say. Just talk us through your experience. What happened to you?
I was staying in a little place called Barweiler, and I'd got up early in the morning, decided to try and get home, and just ended up being stuck in the area. There was a lot of bridges that had been washed away. It was just total devastation in the whole area.
And with the speed of the way the waters arrived, did it take you by surprise, or was there a warning system going on that advance noticed you as to what was about to happen?
No idea. I just expected to get up the next morning and drive to Calais without any problems. I drove a couple of kilometres down the road to a place called, I think, Much, and it was most of the town was gone. I just wasn't expecting to see that, and it seemed like every road that I tried to go down, either the road was just completely washed away, or there was bridges down, or it was just completely flooded. There was landslides, rocks and soil all over the roads, trees down. There was cars upside down, just debris everywhere. All of the barriers at the side of the roads had all been ripped out. There was people crying and hugging each other, just standing around, looking in total shock. It was very strange.
It's that sense of shock that we can hear from you, and we saw in the images of the sheer devastation. Thank you so much for sharing your images with us. But it's that sense of shock, how quickly this all happened. Now, I know that the country's president is talking to the emergency services here, to the fire services in particular. I know you, in your experience, you had someone from the fire services that helped you out in particular.
Yes, in that area, a lot of the people don't speak great English, so I'd spent a long time driving around trying to find directions to get out of the area, and then I finally came across a fireman that could speak good English, and he pointed me the right way to get out, and then thankfully I did.
Well, we're very thankful for you for joining us. Craig Cousins, good to see you back home and safe, joining us live from Wrexham. Thank you so much for sharing your images. And it's that scale of devastation, Anita, I think that is coming through now as the waters are slowly receding. We've been here for many hours and the water's receded, I'd say about 6-7 inches or so. But the water finally slowly receding, and that level of destruction is becoming apparent. Angela Merkel described this as a catastrophe that has hit this part of her country, with so many deaths, with so many people unaccounted for. It is a real recovery process, and as you can see, we've got police services here who are asking us to move off of the bridge, because, as I was saying, there are 3 enormous trucks there that have just been piled one next to each other. They will be using metal cutters to cut through, and I have to say that the grim recovery search will then begin. The army bolstering the police services here in this part of West Germany.
Kasia, thank you very much for that. More from Kasia throughout the day in Germany. Kasia